6 years ago, Bruce Whitesides, District Athletic Director, was continually faced with finding ways to trim his activities budgets. 3% this year, 2% the next. It eventually reached the point where cutting middle school band and athletics became a reality. Faced with the prospects of compliance issues or having these activities become a pay-to-play scenario, Whitesides had to make a decision. So he reached out to Kelly Sports Properties. Intellectual property management revolves around the protection of an institution's marks, name, and logos. By granting exclusive rights to an IPM company, they can leverage that property into different opportunities to generate revenue. After taking a look at the data and demographics of Columbia, Missouri, Kelly Sports Properties found the similarities between a Division II institution and Columbia Public Schools were far greater than the differences. Thus was born a program that is well on its way to groundbreaking changes for activities programs at the high school level. This short video covers the thoughts and opinions of superintendents, board members, and administrators, and will hopefully inform, enlighten, and highlight the pros and cons that went into the decision-making process, as well as the implementation and the results. Hi, I'm Bo Bayman, Director of Marketing and Communications of the Columbia Orthopedic Group. Well, welcome everybody. Let's start with Dr. Chris Belcher. And Dr. Belcher, this happened a couple of years ago, and when they came to you for the first time, what was your initial thought about maybe partnering instead of having an athletic budget just the traditional way?
Well, when I first got here, we were in the throes of radical budget reductions, reduction of staff, limited state revenue, and the athletic programs were taking their hits like everything else. When Bruce and Colin came and we started talking about it, I saw it as an opportunity to start looking at ways to fund our athletic programs without taking out the general funds. Because as a superintendent, you always hate to ever take away from the classroom to fund athletics, but at the same time we know that the athletics and extracurricular programs are so essential to what the community wants in our programs. So I was intrigued, but I had heard some resistance from some parts of the public. So we had lots of conversations, we walked it through, we backed away at one point because we weren't quite ready. And I think once we felt comfortable, we pushed it pretty quickly, got it in front of the board, and even then the board was reticent and concerned, and I believe it passed on a 4-3 vote. But now with the results that we're getting, I think everyone would like to go back and change those votes to yes.
And Christine, I'm sure that, as you were going through this process, there was a lot of obstacles and a lot of people that maybe needed some convincing.
Right. I was a yes vote, so I want to keep my vote as it is. But, yeah, and I think that what I heard from was really, when you have a broad idea, a big idea that's good for the district, there is still going to be pockets of groups or individuals or even community members where it doesn't benefit them. But our current way wasn't benefiting them either. And that took a lot, in my opinion, of convincing, and I don't think that some of those people have yet to really understand the benefit this has made in our district, because their little 4-person, 5-person group doesn't necessarily see it. So I think that is going to be on our administration and athletic staff and even the board to make sure we get that message out so that everybody does see the benefit for all.
And Bruce, I remember back in the days where we were talking about cuts to programs maybe at middle school or junior high. I mean, something had to be done. You had to think outside the box, didn't you?
Correct, yeah. Dr. Belcher said, we were treading water quick on the athletics and activities, and middle school athletics had just gotten cut, and now we're going to reinstate those through some other great budgeting that we're doing and things like that. But I believe that when we started this, I took the model from the NCAA Division II of collectively putting schools together, and our 2 high schools were as large as any small college, and so that's where we kind of went from to design this the way it is right now, this model that we're using.
And when you had to do that, you had to go to some businesses, and they had to step up, didn't they?
Correct, and of course we made the point to show that it's a business decision, and it's also something they want to do for the community too. Because even one of our business folks said that wanted to live with the community, not off the community.
We have a couple of the businesses that jumped in early. Dr. Mark Anos, we'll start with you. Columbia Orthopedic Group decided to get in on this, and just maybe the decision why you decided to get in?
Well, it was an easy decision, Bo. We've been in the community a long, long time, and we've pretty much always supported the Columbia Public Schools. But I have to tell you, it at times was pretty haphazard how we did it. We had, and a lot of times it came down to our donations or our support, whoever hit us first, whatever team or whichever activity hit us first, or we would have parents who had children on teams. So one year the band might get some money from us, the next year it would be football, and so it was very haphazard, and this was a very nice way to streamline our support and to give the decision making as to where the money went back to the people who knew it better than we did, and that's back to the school system and back to the athletic directors, and let them direct it.
And one of the things that's been great with this, I'm sure that you'll agree, is that your name's been on a scoreboard. You've been in the programs. There's been a lot of advertising and marketing dollars spent by you, but also you're seeing the payback from this program.
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to measure payback on advertising very much, and I'm not very good at that. But I just know it's something we've had payback by having a better public school. I think by having it, the Columbia Public Schools have always been just a wonderful place, and we've always wanted to help support them. And this was a way to get our payback by having better schools for our kids and more activities, and not having the young kids losing activities and all too.
And Mark, I'm sure that you probably felt the same way. And when you were thinking to jump in on this, you already had athletic trainers at the football games and at sporting events, but this was a way to kind of gel everything, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It really gave us a chance to even do more than we were doing for the public schools. I mean, through our athletic trainers teaching, covering of the games and everything. That was always been happening. We've been doing that for years, but this was a chance for us to jump in even more. For instance, on our the video boards, this year we actually were able to make PSAs versus just an advertisement, which I didn't really want to do just an ad, something crazy like that. I mean, like Dr. Adams said, it's hard to measure what you're going to get out of that. But by having Greg and Stephanie do a PSA that was shown at games, we were able to deliver a message for wellness out to our parents and other players and actually opposing teams. So they got to see that too. So, this is a really dynamic way for us to be involved and support an organization that we've been supportive of in my career since 1991. So.
I would imagine, Mark, too, one of the things that is neat about it is the fact that you can think out of the box too, because you got the video boards now and you have other ways rather than just strictly a program or just a schedule card.
Yeah, it was really fun, and I would say fun. I wasn't the one in front of the camera, but I got with Bruce and we got with Colin and we got with the staff here with the CPS, and we were able to film in the green room, and I think maybe it was the first ones they did in the new building, the new Aslan building. So we really got to think outside the boxes. I really didn't want to do just a traditional ad to put up on the board. I wanted them to send a message, and I think Justin got to see some of those. You're probably in the locker room, maybe you didn't get to see it, but Greg got a lot of airtime at the game, so it was probably, to me, it was more valuable than to just stick our logo up somewhere. I mean, it's still great to have the logo on the board, but that PSA was I think was a really neat addition.